soothing effect on me. And also, I've heard this from other fish proponents or actually people that are truly involved with the hobbyists, that there is a certain amount of therapy involved in having a tank and enjoying that hobby. So I know that there are certain things in place to make us feel good. It's Sweet Lou and Friends, ladies and gentlemen, and I feel like a little old lady here in my bag. This is the bag that I have all the good stuff, and I just wanted to say hello to all of you. Today is, what's today, Mindy?
It's Monday.
Monday. And we have a special guest. I think he's special, only because of what he does. And let me bring on, without any further ado, my two co-hosts, Miss Mindy Hayden and Devo Brown.
Morning, happy Monday to all. I'll say it again.
Good morning, everyone, and it is a happy day.
Yes. And also, I want to bring on my guest. It's Jim Stime. Jim, say hello to the audience out there.
Good morning.
There you go. He has a great smile, and he's a junior like I am. All right. So, Jim, yeah, he's a junior. I'm a junior.
Junior.
The second?
Yeah, the second.
I gotcha. Okay.
Yeah. Stay with me, Mindy. Those
right.
herbs are not working that great, or maybe you're taking too many.
They both know who their father was, in other words. And
Right.
That's a plus
right.
in our
At least he
society.
knew who we were.
Yeah, well, there you go.
He gave us his name. So, Jim.
Yes, sir.
How was your weekend?
A lot of work.
Really?
Preparing for this morning. Getting prepared for this morning.
Were you really?
Uh-huh.
Oh, my God. Well, before you go into that, let me bring my co-host in on their weekend, because usually I do that, and I just want to find out if they had a nice weekend, because it is Monday, and usually on the weekends people do something special. Did you do anything special with a special person, or you want to give us the blow-by-blow?
Interesting terminology, but I'm just going to go ahead and let that all go. I'll just suffice to say, Lou, it was a very special weekend and really didn't do anything out of the ordinary.
There you go.
There you go.
All right. How about you, Mindy?
Ditto. Very special weekend. Didn't do anything really out of the ordinary, but how could you not enjoy it with fabulous weather, don't you think?
Yeah, we are
great.
so above the rest of the country when it comes to the weather. I
Yeah.
mean, either you're swimming in some rainwater runoff, or you're in some kind of, no, seriously, they have some trouble in the
Yeah,
Midwest.
it's bad.
Oh, yeah.
But
yeah.
I did want to put out a rather special thanks for this weekend to George W. Bush,
Oh, really?
to our president. I wanted to say thank you for your complete mismanagement of our country to the point where gas prices are now tripled. And your the trickle down for that is that traffic in Malibu isn't that bad this weekend. Even though it's
you're
middle
right.
of summer,
Yeah.
there were places to park right along PCH for Zuma. I could get in and out of town
And
move
surf
all
and
around,
do your thing.
surf
Yeah.
and cool and jam with my friends, and
Right.
it was great. So thank you, President. You did great for me.
Yeah, okay. All right. If you want to go there, I'll let you. That's fine.
That's just my thought on it.
Yeah.
Because I did have a great discussion at great length about that, and that figure did occur to me that under his tenure, gasoline prices have tripled.
Yeah.
So I just thought I'd just.
But everybody knew that had any kind of consciousness. I mean, even the Republicans are realizing right now, this guy did not serve them at all, unless you're, very wealthy. If you're very wealthy, you got wealthier. But that's a whole nother topic.
Yeah.
I don't want to waste time with him, because that's what I feel that whole thing is.
Yeah.
My heart and my mind is with God, and you all here are my family, and you out there that are checking in also are my family, and that's what's important, right, Jim?
That's right.
And we got an interesting guest today.
Yes,
so
let's
go on with that.
Let's get into. Jim does something very, very special. When I was living in the big house, which I'm not living in the big house anymore, I had a fish tank. It wasn't salt water. Salt water takes experts like Jim, and I found it just so relaxing to come home, sit in my big chair, and I think it was the whole allure of the colors of the fish, and I had it decorated so wonderful. And of course the filtering system. There was something about the filtering system, but I don't want to get into all that.
I think it's the sound of the filtering
Yes, it is.
system, and then
Yeah.
you see the
It's a
color of
feng
the fish, and they
shui.
swim, and something about the motion. I think that the whole
Soothing.
the whole picture.
Very,
Yeah.
Soothing.
very. But you seem to me like you have like an artistic flair.
Well, part of doing an aquarium is art.
Right.
In fact, the most fun for me is actually redecorating the aquarium.
Right.
The cleaning and portion, that's the job.
Right.
The redesigning or setting it back up is the art. That's where the fun is at.
That got to be fascinating, really.
Every aquarium is a different painting,
Right.
and every time you do it, it's another different painting.
Right.
So you mean putting the little plants and the little rocks and
The
the
coral
and
decorations and
all of
such,
that.
and how you envision it's going to look this time. So every aquarium you do, every day, 5, 6, 7 of them, is always a new palette that you're starting to paint with.
Has anybody said, no, I don't like that?
Yes.
It's amazing how people do have a certain amount of taste in what visually they feel comfortable.
But do they know what they want, really? I mean, how many people would you say, okay, I want an aquarium and I know exactly I want this here and that there? I wouldn't.
I would.
I trust Jim.
I would trust Jim, but at some point, what I would say is like, it's not working for me. And that's how I did mine. I didn't have a gym to help me. I did it myself. And the next day, no. So I'd take the rocks out before the even fish was in there, because the water had to be, you know.
Right.
And the plants had the certain way, and I had little decorative things. But tell me your process. If somebody says, oh, I don't like that, what happens then?
Usually I respond with, what? You don't like my design?
Uh-huh.
And then you kind of take a few moments and go, okay, what would you like?
Right.
And then you would redo it to what they suggest or something. But there is a key to designing or placing the decorations in an aquarium. And if you stop and think about it, everything reaches for the light. So if you position everything so that it's all reaching for the light, there's uniformity in the look.
So it's like jewelry.
Yes.
You have to have
there's
a certain...
there's a perspective there. And that, you can have them cluster all around, but if they're all facing the same direction, again, there's uniformity.
Right.
You
Well,
know,
I would think you'd probably have a consultation too, when you're doing an aquarium, especially a big one with a client. Is that what you do?
You
like,
usually
I want
end up
this color, or I want...
Discussing the color,
But the
or,
fishes mainly, not so much...
and some of the fishes too, but they typically would just kind of pass it over to you, and then, because they don't know,
Right.
won't really begin to ask questions until the process begins and they begin to see it, and then they might want to make some sort of changes or suggestions or something like that.
Yeah.
you know, Jim, the question that begs to be asked here is there a feng shui for aquariums? I mean,
Yes.
is there an art and
wow,
a,
yeah.
like, hey, okay, no, you can't put the pink coral next to the black castle because that blows the whole feng shui. There is.
That's
There is,
interesting. It is. I never thought of that.
Where the aquarium sits in the house, opposite of the door, maybe on the north
Yes,
side of the
I've heard that.
room.
Right. No sun.
No sun. Certain stones in there. I haven't worked with too many of those, but I've had people make reference to it.
No trees in front of the front door.
I haven't gotten that far into it, to be honest with you.
Yeah, the money stops.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting. Yeah, the Chinese, no tree in front of the front door.
Well, do you know this, or people tell you they don't want it? as
I
far as
don't
you-
know this.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if
Okay.
you're into feng shui, you have to teach
Right,
me
right,
or
right.
tell me
Okay.
Yeah.
how it's going to be set up or what you need to have it set up
Yeah.
with.
But some people, sophisticated clientele, and I'm positive that you have those, are a bit more, not so much savvy, but they know what they want.
Particular?
Yeah, they know what they want, because I know we have a mutual friend, Frank Gary.
Yes, sir.
And he is a very, I wouldn't say fastidious, but he is very, like myself, I would have to put him in my category where we know what we want. We know what we like. We go to the experts to tell us, but at some point it's his final decision, and it would be mine. I feel comfortable with, thank you, but I knew that I had an input in
Yes.
putting it together.
And Frank's aquarium looks very nice.
Yeah, I even like where it is.
Yeah, it's the shower aquarium.
Yeah, I love it.
It's
I love
half the shower.
Yeah.
You actually go behind, turn the faucets and such on, and you're
And while you're
rubber-dubby
showering,
in the
there's the-
shower with the fish.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
Yeah. No, it's
Oh, that's
fascinating.
kinda
Yeah,
neat.
it is
Yeah.
neat. Yeah, it is neat. The other thing that I wanted to bring up was how expensive are these little works of art?
They're expensive.
They're expensive.
And unfortunately, it's getting more expensive.
Really?
Well, as he mentioned earlier, our president has been in the driver's seat while the price of gasoline has gone up, and that affects everything.
Everything.
It affects my cost to come to you to do
Right.
the job. It
Right.
affects, believe it or not, the cost of that fish in that bag, that half bag of water that's being transported by the plane from the collector to the distributor to the wholesaler to the retailer.
Wow.
All of those little handlings of it, and that increase in cost of gasoline drives the price of everything up.
Interesting.
Aquariums, acrylic aquariums, are made of petroleum products.
Right.
Right there, the price goes up.
Yeah, I had an acrylic. I liked it. I thought that it was.
Acrylic versus glass?
Acrylic versus
And
glass.
what's the difference?
Well, aside from the hardness of the material,
Right.
typically the acrylic aquariums, you can have a bent or a rounded corner,
Right.
more of a contemporary type of look.
Right. Yeah, I call it beveled.
Beveled?
Yeah.
Yes.
Bull nose.
Yeah, almost, there you go.
Well, what's better for the fish?
Either one
that-
is fine.
It doesn't matter?
It's really more of a looks type issue,
Okay.
or if your particular application, whether it be a shape, because the acrylic material you can bend, whereas
Yeah.
the glass, you have to do it in angles, and there's too many silicone seams and such.
Yeah, and feng shui wise, you don't want points. There's some people that do not like points. That is a negative towards the body. It's a smoother, rounder. I've seen homes that there is no point in that house.
Now I have a question. As far as the tanks go, what's the smallest versus the largest that you've done or that you do? Or
5
Is it-
gallons to 500 gallons is the typical range. Ironically, the smaller tanks are the more difficult.
really?
Because of the smaller volume of water, it's less stable. So if something changes in their water chemistry-wise or temperature-wise, it happens much faster in a 5-gallon aquarium than it does a 500-gallon
Right.
aquarium.
Right. Because in mine, I had 2 filtering systems, and if one went down or I didn't have time to clean it, the other one would handle it for a day or so until I got to it.
Now, as far as how many fish, is there such a thing as having too many fish
Yes.
in a
Sure.
so in a 5-gallon, how many?
Well, it comes back to the
The
type of
type of
fish,
fish.
but a 5-gallon tank typically would be a freshwater aquarium,
Okay.
and there you would immediately think of angelfish and the little neon or cardinal tetras. Well, if we're talking neon and cardinal tetras, those are small fish. You might be able to fit 20 of those into a 5-gallon aquarium. But if you took Oscars or pacus, which are bigger fish and grow bigger, obviously you can't get as many of them into the tank. So compatibility is a big issue. What the fish, the size of the fish will grow into is an issue. The size of the tank that it's starting, can you graduate to a bigger size down the road if your fish do well and grow?
Yeah, some fishes
Sure,
eat the
sure.
other fishes like that.
Oh,
They'll
that's
get in
right,
there,
you
Yeah,
know.
they're very aggressive. And that's, what's the name of those fishes? There's a name.
Lionfish,
No, not per se, but they have.
Predators.
carnivorous fish,
No, predators.
hungry fish.
No. They say this type of fish, and you say you don't want that fish. And
They'll eat
obviously-
the other fish.
Call it aggressive fish.
Yeah, no, they are aggressive, but they have a name for them, and I'm not putting you on the spot, even though it sounds like I am. Okay. Anyway, the other thing that I'm noticing about the fish industry, they come from all over the world.
Yes.
I'm assuming that the freshwater and they come from Asia. And they
Most freshwater come from Asia and South America, although
Right.
a tremendous amount of freshwater fishes are now pond bred in Florida
Oh.
or the southern states. And the advantage is, to a certain degree, they're acclimatized to a tank environment as opposed to coming from the wild.
Right.
Saltwater fish, the Philippines, Indonesia, places like that is where most of the fish are coming from. Some of them are coming from Fiji. Occasionally you'll get stuff out of the Red Sea and places such as that. But the bulk of the fish come from the South Pacific, saltwater fish.
Right.
Is there a difference in the lifespan of coming from the wild versus the pond?
I would have
bred?
to say yes. The
Okay.
biggest effort for a fish is to make that adjustment from a wild environment to a captive environment. The foods change, the surroundings change, the quality of the water changes. So that's probably the biggest obstacle for fishes coming from the wild, is that adjustment. Once they get into your aquarium and once they make that adjustment from there, it's equipment-related issues, food-related issues, maintenance-related issues. And if you can stay on top of that, as opposed to 3 to 6 months where most hobbyists, that's all they keep fish, it can be 3 to 6 years.
Wow. Okay.
Yes,
good.
I had a fish. Well, I think who I gave it to, they still have them, and they're 5 years now.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
So that's pretty, and they're freshwater, and they're huge now. You know, they started out nice size, but now they're like, and parrotfish. They're
Parrotfish,
Yeah,
yeah,
I had like 3 or 4, and then I got some more. And
Orange, if I recall right.
Orange,
Yes,
yeah,
yes,
yeah,
yes, yes, yes.
yeah. And they're interesting looking. You know, they're bulgy eyes, and they're always.
They're
looking,
actually a man-made fish.
really.
They're a cross between a gold sevrum and I believe it's a Jack Dempsey. They're a man-made fish.
What do you
That
mean
Jack
man-made,
Dempsey boy,
though?
he's aggressive.
Yes.
They are aggressive.
And those little parrotfish can be aggressive
Yes,
too.
yes, yes.
But they have that kind of squished look.
Well, when you say man-made, you mean meant to breed?
Nature.
Right,
Okay.
like dogs. They have
Yeah.
inbred them and
Okay.
put one and the other together.
And it's a very popular fish now too, because it's orange, so it's a bright color.
Pretty.
It's a squished little body with kind of a distorted little face, and they just get out there and wiggle around and entertain.
They're fun.
Their
No, they're
hobbyist
fun,
friends.
and they're always hungry. They could eat up a storm. They could. They really are aggressive. I know that they created a soothing effect on me. Also, I've heard this from other